police details having to go to open houses because so many people are going to see these properties. Lines down the street. We had that happen all over the place over the weekend. And why is that happening? Why are there literally lines out the door, down the street, around the corner, traffic jams, neighbors calling the police to say there's too many people? Well, it wasn't just on our properties. I wish I could say it was, but it wasn't. This happened on other listings throughout the market as well. Talked to some other brokers that it happened to as well. That is because the imbalance of buyers and sellers is getting worse. It's getting worse, and that's partly because we're headed into the holiday season, partly because COVID has made a comeback in the last 4 weeks, and more people are pulling back on listing. Although more people are listing this December than last, I'm going to get into that with you, but there's an abundance of things that are happening here, and that's what I'd like to talk to you all about over the next probably 45 minutes to give you a complete and total real estate market update. Haven't seen you all for a month. I got a Christmas beard going. Don't worry, it'll be okay. A lot of people have reached out saying they don't like it. Few people saying they like it. It's not going to impact my real estate update. I can promise you all that. Also want to take a look at November. Home sales were up significantly, about 19%. Homes listed were up. Pendings were up. I mean, this was the busiest, craziest fall ever. It was like a spring market in the fall as far as demand goes, and the demand really hasn't let up, but it's not in every area. We're not seeing the demand this strong for condos and multis. It's less there, and I'll tell you, if you're thinking of buying a condo, now's the time, especially closer to Boston, and I'm going to talk to you guys about that as well because I think people are missing out. Also going to be talking a bit about New Hampshire. I'm going up there later this week. Well, not later, in the middle of this week to do an update from up there with one of our realtors, and going to be looking at that market because we do a lot of business up there. And also going to take a look at South Florida. There's lots to talk about. Another item to talk about is this stimulus bill that got approved. Congress and the president and everybody finally stopped arguing after 3 months and agreed to put together a $900 billion deal. And what does that mean? What does that mean for real estate? Does it mean anything? We're going to talk about that. People are going to get more money on their unemployment checks. A whole number of things are going to happen from that. There's going to be rental assistance in that. So I'm going to take you through absolutely everything, and we're going to talk about it at length, probably 30 to 45 minutes here. So let's start from the beginning, and let's jump into November Massachusetts Housing Report. I want to take a peek at that. I have November finalized for Mass and for New Hampshire. The Florida stats are a little bit lagging. Going to do likely a report on that next week. But I want to show you all what's going on in Massachusetts. So take a look at this. Massachusetts home sales, and obviously you can get this from going on lamacchiarealty.com, clicking on blog, but Massachusetts home sales were up 19% in the month of November. Okay, now take a look at this. 8,600 homes sold compared to 7,200 last November. Now we know part of that's just that lag. There was such a lag on home sales that things stayed very busy through the fall, but it isn't just that. I mean, this is really something special that's going on here, and in some ways it's great, and in some ways it's very frustrating. It's particularly frustrating for first-time buyers. Look at the average sale price difference November to November. Look at this here. Let's see, $514,000 average in Massachusetts, and that's across singles, multis, and condos for 2020. It's massive. Pending home sales, as I had mentioned, were up 9%. So homes listed, 15% more homes listed at 6,300 homes listing for sale in November. 9%, pendings were up 9% more than last year. Look at this single family snapshot. This is very interesting, and this shows you really what's going on in the market. I'm going to zoom a little bit here, see if I can pull this off without our IT people. There we go. 3,800 single families for sale right now at this moment. This report obviously comes into this week here. That's amazing. I mean, last year at this time we were at about 8,000, or a little less than 8,000. So that's part of what's going on. Now, here's what I found very interesting about the November report. Take a look at this. Homes listed up, homes pending up, price adjustments up. Now, you look at that and you say, well, how could price adjustments be up if pendings are up, the properties are selling? Okay. How could that be? Here's what I think. Some sellers are starting to push their luck. And I want to talk to you sellers who are listening. This video, this update is meant for our buyers and sellers primarily, though I know we get a lot of realtors who watch it. But I want sellers to understand that, yes, the market's strong. Yes, there's tremendous demand, but that doesn't mean that you can just name your price. If you get crazy with your price, completely out of hand, you're not going to get away with it. It's one thing if everything in your neighborhood's selling for 500 and you go 519. Okay, not a big deal, right? That's within about 5%. You go 575 and everything in your neighborhood's 500, you're not going to sell. And what you should do if everything in your neighborhood is selling for 500 is you ought to price at 499. Then you get a bunch of offers, you'll sell for even more, substantially more than you would if you had priced higher. And I know that's kind of contrary to how a lot of sellers see things, but that's the truth about how housing works. I always say the properties that we buy with our Offer Now program, we're buying anywhere between 1 and 3 properties a month. We're selling anywhere between 1 and 3 a month. We have 2 closings this week. If we think something's worth 500, we'll price it 489, 499 on purpose, because it's like the auction impact. You attract a lot of people. So that's part of what's going on with price changes. I also want to mention what's contributing to that even more significantly than just people getting crazy is multifamilies and condos. This is the time to strike with a condo. If you are watching and you have been interested in buying a condo in Greater Boston, okay, Watertown, Waltham, Newton, Brookline, go right around Boston, right? There's no reason for you not to be buying one. I understand that people have fears with COVID, but that's this run that we're seeing on single families. It's great for single family owners, but some of you are missing out on what could be very good deals for condos. I posted in our Facebook group for the company this morning and said, hey, I'm going live at 3. Tell me what's going on. Most people talked about the same things, but a few agents made a point to say that they've helped some buyers buy condos for $20,000 or $30,000 less than asking prices. Condos, townhouses, things like that. I'm seeing townhouses in my hometown of Watertown that are sitting on the market. If you have a townhouse with your own garage, your own front door, I don't know why you would be turned off from that because of COVID. Just because there's a party wall in the middle to your neighbor, well, you're not sharing ventilation. You're not, going into each other's living spaces. I think people are missing out with condos. I feel the same way for South Florida. I was speaking to a broker down there, not in our company, but I was speaking to a broker at another company over the weekend, and he and I were talking about how this is a good time to buy a condo on the water down there. And the same thing that our agents were telling us. Lisa Jones was saying that there's some deals there. Mark Martin was mentioning that this is a great time to buy a condo in Miami. There's a lot of people from South America that buy in South Florida that haven't been. So you guys get the point that I'm making with condos. That's something that I noticed, and I know that's contributing to the price changes. Let me move on to New Hampshire now and not get too far off track as I already did. Check out New Hampshire home sales, up 4%. Average price is up 24%. Now remember, that's month over month. That doesn't mean that when we finish 2020 that as a whole, every home is going to be 25% higher. But month compared to another month, that's true. There's Anthony up on the North Shore, Gallo, pointing out how he's been saying that for condos and townhouses. You're absolutely right. Look, you're a real estate guy like me, Anthony, and we know if everyone's running over there, we run over there. And, that's how you have to be. I always talk about the Warren Buffett theory. When everyone is scared, be greedy. When everyone is being greedy, be scared. So that's what you got to think about a little bit. Okay, so that talks about New Hampshire. Obviously, the market is moving along well there. Now what I want to do is walk you through the weekly tracker that we created, which, by the way, we are going to keep forever. This has been a hit. Our realtors are loving it. Their clients are loving it. And we're hearing great things about it. And I want to go through this. Cole Gagaro, our marketing manager today, updated it. And if you look at the stats, this is tremendous data. This is 4 years of data on homes listed per week. Now, I haven't seen you in a month, so we're going to look very closely, see where my cursor here is. If you look here, 855 homes listed last week. That is still up over last year. And that points to exactly what I mentioned in the November report. More people are listing than before. okay? But it's not enough to meet the demand. And we're going to talk about why that demand is so significant, but let me walk you through this. So 855 the week before, 1,200. But look at this. Each week, right back to Thanksgiving, even the week of Thanksgiving is more than last year. So clearly there's a pattern here. Now, take a look at the amount of homes for sale. We always take a snapshot every Saturday. Total homes for sale in Massachusetts, 8,000 as of Saturday. There's actually less now. I checked this morning. It's amazing. Last year at this time, look at the green, 11,500. So this is significant. And let me tell you, for those of you that say, well, 11,500 to 8,000 is not that bad. No, it is. Here's why. 11,500 was low. That was a problem then. It's worse now. Great time to be a seller, tough time to be a buyer. Now, I'm going to hone in directly on singles again. Now, I showed you this report over on the other November report because we snuck it in there, but I want you to peek at this. 3,800 single families. Folks, what is there? 8.5 or 8.6 million people in Massachusetts, and we have 3,800 homes, single family homes for sale. It's because they're getting eaten up. The demand is significant. The absorption rate is high. They're getting bought most weeks. Most of the weeks, homes are getting bought faster than they're being listed. So let me keep going here. I'm going to move to pending sales. Again, we're still up here, folks. 1,403 pendings. Each week, pending sales are up. Now, what's going to happen, right? You know, I talked to you guys in my update that I did last month, and I said, will we make up for it by the end of the year? And I made some predictions, and I said that we would probably come up, I believe I said I thought we would probably come up a little bit short in Massachusetts, but in New Hampshire, we would be ahead. So, but the pendings are very interesting. I just don't know that we have enough time to sell enough properties. Be interesting to see how the next 10 days goes. And if you look here, homes sold, obviously very strong. Each month is ahead. This report here is very interesting to me. The percentage of total inventory per week that is selling. Look at this. 2020, 17.39% of the homes that are listed are selling. My friends, look all the way across. That's higher than even in peak months in late spring last year. It's just wild how the difference, okay? It's wild. And that's just the demand. Now take a look at this. Home prices in November averaged 514,000. So take a look. Now remember, each month it varies. Don't get thrown off by the fact that October was 522, November is 514. That's historically normal. Prices tend to go down a little bit in the winter because there's usually less demand in the fall. That hasn't really happened this year. Now I'm going to scroll down here. And we're going to look at December, just to look at straight numbers, okay? 2,500. Well, I can show you the rest of November, actually. Let me do that. November, 6,300 homes listed and change, 15% more homes listed, 9% more homes pending, 13% more homes sold, average price 8.4% higher. This is amazing, my friends. This is amazing. And now just look at these. 8.4% higher, 14% higher, 9% higher, 11% higher. I want to talk to all those people on the news back in March who said, housing, this is the next 08, housing will crash. They were all wrong, and I knew they'd be wrong. And I'm happy to say that because they were like, it's almost like they were trying to hurt the market. If I thought, and I've said this to you all before, if I thought the market's going down, I'd be the first one to tell you. But it's not the case. Now, let's peek at December and see where we're at. 27% ahead with homes listed. That's significant. That's actually more than the last. If that keeps up, that's going to be the biggest month as far as being ahead on homes listed. But my friends, it's not enough. Homes pending month to date, obviously, we're still in the month, 16% ahead. Homes sold 3% behind. So we'll see how we fare for the rest of the month here. Now, Diane Mayo up in the North Shore talks about how she has a condo that she's having trouble selling, right? It goes back to what I said. Now, what I'm finding, generally speaking, I actually spoke to a few agents today, even outside our company, many inside and a few outside. We're finding that the condos, the closer you get to Boston, the more they're hurting. When you get away from Boston, they're not. Now, if I'm a home buyer, if you're a home buyer, don't hear that and think, oh my God, I'm staying away from condos. No. That's the time to strike. That's the time to strike. Okay, I bought a property back in March, made an offer on a property in March where things were bad. I'm not going to lie. At that time, I was a little nervous. COVID had just hit. The buyer who was supposed to buy this property that I always wanted backed out. I got involved, made the offer, bought the property. And the other day, someone said to me, boy, you bought it at a good time. Okay, at that time, I wasn't exactly convinced it was a good time, but I knew I had to do it, right? And that's the difference. Now, Chris Colas, great realtor in Worcester County, said, where's the houses that are being listed? Well, they're getting eaten up as fast or faster than they're being listed. And this has gone on for some time. Why is this happening? Well, this leads us into some of my predictions for 21. I don't have them finalized. We're not going to go over all of them today, but we're going to talk about at least January. What I expect in the next few weeks, even few months, I'm going to get into. So, inventory is obviously wildly low right now. We're seeing lots of people still out there buying. As I told you, we had police details at some of our open houses, and it wasn't just us. Great realtor I know up in Chelmsford, Mark Bellevue, same thing happened to him. He had to have a police detail come to control traffic, control people coming in and out. It's just wild. I told my dad that today, and he's a real estate geek, and he says, what? Police detail? I mean, it's just crazy. So why is that happening? Why is demand completely off the charts? And don't worry, I'm going to go into New Hampshire in a minute. I didn't forget my friends in New Hampshire or Florida. But why is it so significant? It's significant because what I had talked to you about before, every single year, the city of Boston, you guys have to remember, all of you that are watching, city of Boston provides droves of people every year that move out of their apartments or sell their condos and move out to the suburbs. Well, this year, anybody who was thinking of doing that, I shouldn't say anybody, most people who were thinking of doing that in the next 2 to 3 years said, I'm leaving now. So we had this run on the suburbs, but not just Metro West, North Shore. Jack Attridge is in Marlborough. He and I were talking about it the other day. He's a realtor up there. And, same thing. People are running north. People are running west. People are running to the South Shore. Our South Shore realtors, B. Murphy, many agents down there, they're seeing a lot of sales. And then you get out to Worcester, there's people going even further. Someone today made an interesting comment. Jay Johnson, realtor out in the Leominster office of ours, he said that it's kind of hard for some of those local buyers in North Worcester County to compete with buyers that are coming from Metro West or, more this way down Route 2. So it's an interesting kind of phenomenon that's going on here. But we have to deal with it. And until more sellers list, this is what it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty much like this until April. Why do I think that? There's a few reasons I think that. Number one, sellers never listen. I tell sellers every year, list in January and in February, you will get the most money. 10% listen to me and believe me. They just don't understand that buyers come out before sellers. The number one day of the year that buyers search on Zillow is January 1st. Every single year they get more search activity than at any other time of the year. It's January 1st. Why? Because buyers come out before sellers. So we're going to see that as usual. But I think it's going to be worse this year because of COVID. Obviously, this awful virus has made a bit of a comeback, and that's making more people say, I can just wait till March or April. Well, if that's what you want to do, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's going to make it a little tough on buyers. Home buyers, make sure to go after those homes that are sitting on the market. Your realtors, I've said this to our Lamakia realtors many times, your realtors should be pointing out properties to you that have been on the market 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks. You want to try to strike on one of those before they price adjust. Once they price adjust, it goes back out in the system and everybody sees it. You need to strike before. So if you see something on the market that you say, I would love that home, but it's overpriced, or it's out of my price range, go see it. Your realtor should be raising your price range. And I don't mean you have to spend more. If your mortgage broker tells you, look, your max is 500, right now for the next 2 months, look up to 550, especially the next 2 or 3 weeks. Try to strike during the holidays. Sorry, realtors, but if your buyer wants to see something and there's a good deal out for them, we've got to get them out there. We have to get them out there, show them the properties, ask another realtor in your company if you can't, get them in the property, because there's going to be a good time to strike over the next 2 weeks with people being a little, looking less because of the holidays, understandably so. That's the time to strike. So think about those things, and I wanted to talk about that. Now, someone just asked, will there be any demand for condos in the Boston area? Good friend Ann. Now, Ann, to answer your question, yes, demand for condos will come back. Let me just say this. People who are saying and on the news pontificating about, oh, you watch it, cities are dead. They're wrong, 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 wrong. Okay? They're not dead. This is a temporary thing. Will there be lasting effects? Yes, there will. Will there be lots of people working from home more long term? Yes, there will. But are cities going to be decimated? And no, God, no. That's not going to happen. People still love the cities. They still love the restaurants. They still love being around people. So multifamilies and condos, yeah, in Boston, they're taking a little bit of a beat down. Is it going to last forever? No. You will see an improvement by spring, a big improvement. Now, rentals. We are seeing a rental improvement. Our director of rentals, Patrick Aroni, pointed out in the last 2 weeks, he says it's picking up. More people are getting interested in rentals for January, the January semester. We've got students coming into properties we manage through Lamakia Property Management, and more all of a sudden wanting units. And people are starting to inquire about September. Now you can hear that and say, well, September's a long way. Well, you know what? It is, but the inquiries are increasing. Things are starting. I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and people are seeing it too. So let's talk New Hampshire for a few minutes. I'm obviously going to throw in some other things. Wait, I forgot one. Interest rates. That's another reason for the excessive demand. These interest rates are crazy. If you are a seller thinking of selling, if you're a buyer who bought from us in the last year, I've heard a lot of people that bought homes have been watching my updates. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your business, our realtors, and I appreciate it. But if you bought in the last 6 months, you should be reaching out to your mortgage broker about refinancing, especially if you bought before March. Rates are mid-twos, high twos. This is crazy. People don't want to miss out. I promise I'm going to get into New Hampshire. I see comments. I'm going to get into it. But the interest rates are significantly lower. You need to get on top of that. You need to look at refinancing. We're looking at it for some of our properties. So that's important. All right, let's jump into New Hampshire. Here we go. Homes listed. Look at this. Last 3 weeks, I'm going to go to full screen. Last 3 weeks, busier. More homes have been listed. 244, 287, 358. Now, that is with the entire MLS across New Hampshire. So properties are being listed. This is good news. Now, we're seeing more people interested in buying in ski country, buying in the Lakes region. We saw that all summer. We had a lot more sales in the Lakes region. If you are looking to buy in New Hampshire, you need to be reaching out to us because we will help you. Our realtors, we have realtors up there in that market. And if you're working with one of our realtors in the company, alert them that you're thinking of a second home up there because they will get you connected with the right realtor up there to get you taken care of. Now, homes pending. Look at this. It's up just about every week over last year. So New Hampshire is continuing to be strong. Do keep in mind that New Hampshire did not see the slowdown that we saw in Massachusetts. It did dip. Look at homes listed, okay? But it wasn't the same. From a percentage perspective, it wasn't as dramatic as we saw. And because of that, I'm predicting that home sales for New Hampshire will end up for the year. Now, I see Al here. Someone put in a question. I live in New Hampshire. How much over should a bid be for a house? I sold my house a month ago. Okay, that depends on the property. When you say how much over should you make an offer, well, that all depends. It depends on how many other offers there are on the property. It depends on how much action there is, how the property's priced compared to others. You've got to listen to your realtor for that, and you will be in good shape. Let me jump back to New Hampshire. Sorry, I'm going back and forth. I think a little too much here. I apologize. I'm paying too much attention to the comments. I think they're throwing me off. So prices for homes in 2020 substantially higher than previous years. Look at this. Look what's happened to pricing this year. It's gone up, right? We need to get that graph extended over further. We will do that. I apologize that this isn't updated. It's funny because this says created November 23rd. Let me see here. May, June, July, August, September. Okay, this is okay. This is November. And you can see that it's consistent with Massachusetts, where it's a slight dip from October, but that's a normal seasonal dip. Prices are still strong there. So I hope that gives everybody an understanding. Let me jump back to, oops, I went to the wrong button. Oh, I think I showed you all that. Okay. So interest rates are having a big impact. People leaving the cities and moving out to the suburbs in larger masses is having an impact. And people wanting single families especially is having an impact. But I can't emphasize it enough. I think you're making a mistake if you totally look by condos. I mean, as I mentioned, I was talking to Mark down in Florida. There is a lot of condos available on the water in Florida, and I don't understand, why they're selling. Don't get me wrong. The slowdown in condos down there is not as extensive as we're seeing in the city of Boston here. I mean, there's properties in Back Bay, condos that aren't selling. It's not like that in Florida, but it is a bit slower. The single families, there's a complete run on them across our whole nation. And it's something that home buyers should really think about. I think you're missing out. If you were debating between a condo, a townhouse, or a single family, and you're striking out and having trouble with single families, get yourself into looking at condominiums, because you are totally and completely missing out. People going down to the Florida market. I want to spend a couple minutes on Florida. We're seeing an increase, obviously, because of seasonality. Snowbirds are heading down there much more, and our phones are ringing down there. Our agents are busier in the last 3 weeks with people going down looking at properties, even with the virus going on. But I want to say something both for down there and up here. You have not heard, knock on wood, you have not heard horror stories of COVID getting into homes from people allowing others in to see their home, from realtors showing homes. Realtors have been extremely responsible. We put out our 10 tips for a safe showing, and then I think we put out 6 for homeowners. But if you want to see if you're a seller who's hesitating to sell, or a realtor watching, go to safehomeshowing.com, and we can show you right on there. I'm going to go to that now and share it with you. Safehomeshowing.com. That's a page that we set up right when COVID hit. And if you take a look at this, you will see, once it loads, it's taken a minute because I'm on a video, but you will see we walk through all the safe ways to show properties. And realtors are adhering to that. Realtors at Lamacchia Realty are adhering to that. And most realtors at most companies are adhering to that and doing quite well with it. So you shouldn't be fearful of that. And I was hesitant to say that back in the spring. I was a little careful not to say, hey, don't worry, we'll keep you safe, because at that time we were all unsure of the virus. But now I'm confident in saying our realtors have you covered. I mean, they're making sure that people are wearing masks to go in your home. They're controlling the traffic. I just got through telling you we had police details at some of our open houses because the police called and said, hey, there's traffic jams there. We need to send a police officer. So that's, something that we're very aware of, and our realtors are doing a terrific job taking care of that. Now, so as I pointed out, I want people to be aware. It looks like Safe Home Showing. Did I misspell it? Safehomeshowing.com. I think I misspelled it or something. No, something's wrong here. The page isn't working. We're going to post that in the comments for everyone to take a look at, because we want everybody to be totally aware of how they can make sure that their home is safe during a showing. It's something we take very, very seriously here at the company. Now, interest rates. I want to talk about those for a few minutes. I don't see them going up anytime soon. The Fed has made it pretty clear. Now, they had a meeting just last week or was it last week or the week before, where they said they're going to keep buying mortgage-backed securities. So that's kind of confusing and kind of deep. But look at it this way. When investors are buying mortgage-backed securities like crazy, that drives interest rates down. The problem is, in the last 6 months or 4 months, the stock market's done nothing but going up. So investors have been jumping back into the stock market, putting less emphasis into buying bonds. In a normal climate, that would raise interest rates. The reason it's not happening is the Fed is buying the bonds. The Fed is buying anywhere from $40 to $50 billion a month in mortgage-backed securities. That's keeping rates low. I expect that to continue for some time. Obviously, at some point, it's going to go up. None of us know exactly when, but that's something that, is pretty exciting. You can save a substantial amount of money with lower interest rates. In addition to that, you also have a lot more buying power. I mean, someone that could afford 400 a year ago now can afford 450, 480. And that puts a lot of upward pressure on prices and drives things. So the moral of the story here, my friends, for me to recap for you all, is market is remaining strong. It is unusually strong for the season. There are a lot of buyers out there, a significant amount, significantly stronger than we've seen before. But there's also a lot less listings, and that's part of what's making it feel like it's a lot busier. I mean, you saw the inventory. We have 3,800 single families compared to, I think it was 7,500 a year ago, or 8,500. So that's significant, and that's what's having an impact on it. Hopefully that answers people's questions. I'm happy to take questions for a couple of minutes. I do want to mention a couple things. Don Kelly said, you told your mom to list in January because I said so, and she listened. Well, your mom was smart. You know, we love, with the properties we sell, we love getting everything listed that we possibly can before the end of February. Judy Patterson, great realtor in North Worcester County out of our Leominster office. She said holidays and weather don't seem to be a factor this year. She's right. The demand is very strong. I agree with that completely. But obviously this season, you know, this time of year, there are less people listing, and there are. Is it more than last December? Yes, but it's still less than 90, 120 days ago, and the buyer demand is still there. There's a massive hangover of buyers that tried to buy all summer and just couldn't buy. So that's part of what is going on out there. If you are someone who's looking for a second home, looking for a getaway, hopefully many of you saw my video that I did last week on the day of the snowstorm, and I said, you know, do you want to be a snowbird? Do you want to get out of the cold? Are you tired of the snow yet? And I was showing off when I was in Fort Lauderdale Beach a month or two ago. Our realtors down there are ready to help you. Even if you want to plan to buy in 2 to 3 years, let us know. We'll get you connected with them, and they'll start to scout things out for you and help you plan accordingly, because that's a great market. Same goes for New Hampshire. If you want to buy in ski country, you want to buy in the Lakes region, southern New Hampshire, wherever it is, we're there for you. Our realtors are there for you. We obviously cover all of Massachusetts and those markets, Rhode Island, a lot in northern Rhode Island, Connecticut, but we're seeing a larger influx in the vacation spots, the places that people really want to get to as a getaway. I even know people who are putting their kids through school from other states because they're doing it remotely. So it's just an interesting situation that we're in. I will be back to you all. We'll be putting out a some sort of Florida update next week, probably a briefer one, and then we're going to do a comprehensive 2020 report that'll be out in January when our New Hampshire report comes out, when our Massachusetts report comes out, and I will also be rolling out extensive predictions. I can tell you this, home sales will be up in 2021. Home prices will be up in 2021. It'll be interesting to see how we end up in 20. I think we're going to fall a little short, 1 or 2% short, but we're going to do the math, and we'll be talking to you about it. We put out a very extensive report in late January every single year, and I'll be back to you with another video to go over that report. There's a lot of text in that report, but it's extensive. So we have a lot coming at you in the month of January to show you what's going on in the market. But if you are a buyer, I understand it's a tough time. Keep at it. We're helping you. We're looking as hard as we can. Our realtors have more access to more properties that aren't listed, that haven't been listed yet, than any realtor at any other company. And that's because of our advertising. We have over 100,000 properties in our database of sellers or potential sellers coming up. And we're looking all the time for buyers, scouring through those properties. So happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry I jumped around a little bit, but there's a lot to talk about, and it's important to me that you all get updated. So I appreciate your time. Share this with others. I'll be back at you with a brief update with respect to Florida probably next week or maybe the week after. Probably some type of information in early January. Then the extensive stuff comes out in late January. If the market was to shut down, or if there was any crazy shutdown for COVID, I would obviously be coming back at you every week with updates to talk about it with you every step of the way. Have a happy holiday season. Have a happy new year, and I will see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, everybody.